A great case study can easily get you the job or the project that you want. However, creating case studies can be time-consuming and there's also a lot of variables to consider. In this video, I want to give you a clear overview of what a successful case study looks like, what are the elements which you want to put in your case studies in order to win more clients. Now, one of the most important tips that I can give you is to focus on problem solving in the case study. Make it really clear what problem you solved with that specific project. Because one of the most common problems that I see with upcoming designers, and this is something which I did myself when I first started out, is we focus too much on the aesthetics and we just want to show the final project because inside our head we know what went through and we see the final outcome as something which solves the problem, but for someone externally they cannot see all the work that was put into it and all the problem solving and the reasons why you actually created that solution. And this is something really important because clients are not paying you just to create pretty designs, but they're actually paying you to solve problems. So it's really important to show the journey and tell a clear story to the user as to why you actually solved that specific problem. And ideally you want to do that by bringing them from point A to point B. Now there's many ways to actually do that. You can add some text, of course, in order to describe a concept, but you can also show elements of the brainstorming process, the wireframing, maybe some user journeys or user personas, so that the person who's looking at your website or your Behance profile can understand the context in which you were operating prior creating the final solution. So you want to give as much meaningful context as possible so that that's going to be really useful for the client and the prospect to actually understand what was going on and why that final solution which you created is actually something which is valuable. You might also want to discuss specific information about that specific market, the target market, and also what the problems that they're facing. And when it comes to quantity in the case studies, I think that less is more and quality always wins over quantity. So instead of having 10 case studies in a website, so you might want to have just between 2 and 4 case studies on your website, but they should be really well thought out and they should really give the end user an idea as to why you're good at what you do. Now, ideally, you want to diversify the case studies so that maybe let's say that you're offering websites, web apps, and mobile apps, just like I do. And I myself have been a UI UX designer for over 8 years now, so I've been doing this for a while. And diversification is really important. Also segmenting the portfolio. So if you notice on my website, I actually have different portfolio pages for each and every one of the services which I offer, which are only 4 at the moment, but I'm really focused on just 3 of them for 95% of it, and that is website, mobile apps, and dashboard web apps. And basically you want to create ideally a case study for each and every one of these so that when you're applying for a position where mobile app design is specifically required, you can show them a case study specifically for that type of project. And if they're requiring a website redesign, you can send them over a case study which of a website redesign project which you created. And why this is very important is that it's going to resonate much more with the client. Because if you're going in the supermarket and you're looking for apples and someone shows you an orange, they're still fruits, but if someone shows you apples, you're like, oh yeah, I want that. And the same exact principle applies also for complex things like UX solutions. That's definitely something to keep in mind. Also, on a final note, I would strongly recommend you to look at case studies which are really, really good. And one of my favorite places to find really qualitative case studies is Behance, because over there you can see all sorts of different case studies. It's also really good to understand the flow. You can be inspired by different layouts and ways of presenting the information that we discussed in this video. So go out there, explore the top case studies, learn from them, and maybe take some inspiration from them. Now, before ending the video, I want to give you a live demonstration of what I think a great case studies look like. And this is a case study for Perfect Recipes app by Marina Jalanska and Vlad Taran. And I think this encompasses and really reunites all of these concepts that we just discussed in a beautiful way. So as you can see, we have the very top title, which is what is this case study about, and a very brief description of the overview. Now, as we scroll down, we can see this beautiful transition, and we can already have a clear idea of the final solution presented in a beautiful way. So as you can see, we have not only the iPhones with the final UI UX solution, but also the context with this background and the leaves. This really brings me inside the essence of the project, so this is really cool. And over here we have a overview, the first initial part of the description of the case study and some contextual information. And as we scroll down, we see more images of the actual project. Now, I really like the fact that they segmented what the project is about, what's the idea, what is the analysis, and discussion regarding the user interface design. So really, really cool. And this actually gives me some really good insights as to what is really the core informations of the project. As I scroll down, after we had read the text, we can see some visuals to kind of create some visual differentiation, and I can see more of the project. Here there is a section about the personalization, so a lot of information which is really useful for me, who I wasn't involved in the project. I can simply look at this, read it through, and understand the context in which they were operating. So I can evaluate also the efficiency of the final solution, and I can really understand the nuances and the reasons why they created some of these elements, because this is not a beautifully designed, visually speaking, case study and app, but there's also like some really good core UX decisions which were made. So I can really understand this from the presentation. We also have a short video. Really like the fact that they kept it short. We don't want to see a 10-minute video for a case study. We just want to have all the information in a short and sweet way. So again, more explanation when it comes to the recipe cards and the photos. So as you can see, these sections are going to change by the case study. Each and every case study is going to be different. It's not going to have a rigid structure, which is going to just be like copy and paste between case study and case study. And you can also decide to make it shorter or longer. I would say this one is definitely on the longer side. You can definitely go with a case study which is shorter, but it really depends on what are the key elements which you want to communicate. Just keep in mind to keep it in a good length and size. I think this is perfect. This is not too long, not too short. So definitely a great example of what a successful case study looks like. And yeah, definitely something to consider. Although there's also many more you can have a look at, especially on Behance. I think it's a perfect place for finding really good case studies, as well as award websites and portfolio websites, of all sorts. So I really hope this video was helpful. If you liked it, please leave a thumbs up, as this motivates me to create more video. And I have upcoming courses on these very topics. So feel free to check out the links in the description in order to stay up to date with those things. And again, I've been a UI UX designer for over 8 years now, and I share my knowledge for free on my YouTube channel. So if you're interested in these type of topics, feel free to check out my YouTube channel, and I'll see you in the next video.